Hey guys, it's me again. As you may notice, my bookshelf looks a little different in the back. I went ahead and got some more books, so you'll be seeing a few more added to the collection because I have 2 more on the way, maybe more. I don't know yet. I'm mentally unstable. So in today's video, I'm happy to inform you that I have finished the Red Queen series. Have most of the people who are going to read that series probably read it by now? Yes. Am I late? Yes. So, I thought it'd be fun to start a series called I Know, I'm Late, in which I just read older books that kind of had a big blow up a few years ago that I'm just reading now. So this video will contain spoilers for the Red Queen series just because, like I said, most people who are going to read it have read it by now, and if you're not going to read it, then you're not going to read it. So if you have not read the Red Queen by any chance and you are wanting to read it and you don't want any spoilers, I suggest skipping this video. So this is my haul of the Red Queen books right here. I really like the covers on all of these. They're very simple yet elegant. So I guess for this series review, I will just start off by going over each book kind of and my thoughts on it. So we start with Red Queen, where we first meet Mare, and this is all in her perspective only. So, getting into this book, I feel like it was quite a bit of wait before we got into any action. So, I feel like for a while, when I first started reading this, I was like, okay, more world building. And then we meet Cal, and you're kind of like, this is the love interest. Okay, got it. And it was made pretty clear that he's going to be the love interest. So you're like, cool. We know who she's ending up with at the end of this. And then when we get into the palace, she falls in. We meet Evangeline. We don't have the best vibes from Evangeline to begin with, but I'll get into her later in the books. But we don't get the best vibes from her, and she is adopted into the royal family, essentially, and to be betrothed to Maven. So this is when the book gets into this odd, like, love triangle, because the whole time, Aveyard is very clearly in her writing favoring Cal out of the 2 brothers. So you're all like, she's gonna end up with Cal. So why are they trying to, like, even insinuate Maven has a chance, I guess you could say. Because the vibes I got from it were very clearly Cal's the one. Like, sorry, not sorry. It's like in Twilight when it was like Jacob versus Edward, when you know Jacob never had a chance to begin with. Like, it's just weird, and yet we call it a love triangle when there's no real interest in both parties. Next memorable part of this book is when Maven joins the Scarlet Guard. I mean, I guess Mare joins it, but like that's not much of a surprise. But when Maven joins it, they start kind of espionaging within the castle and giving the Scarlet Guard information on who to target for their attacks and so on and so forth. At the very end, Mare tries to, well, not at the very end, towards the beginning of the end, I guess you can say, Mare tries to get Cal to join her side, the Scarlet Guard, whatever you want to call it. And he's basically all like, no, my family, honor, I can't betray them. Nothing will ever change. This is just the way the world is. Which is a load of bullcrap, but he refuses to. Maven and Mare get found out, and they get brought into the courtroom. Surprise, surprise, Maven was planning on backstabbing Mare all along. So then, Maven's mom, whose name I can't remember now, is a Whisper, and she basically has Cal kill his father. Then he becomes the traitor prince, and him and Mare are put in the Bowl of Bones to be executed, where one of the people they actually get to fight is our girl Evangeline, who ends up running away like a scared bitch. No, I didn't forget about that, Evangeline, you fucking pussy. But then the Scarlet Guard comes in and saves them, and Mare finds out that her brother, who she thought was dead, wasn't dead after all. Wow! And that's the end of the book. Then we get into book 2, which is Glass Sword. This book starts off right in the action. There's a full battle between Maven and the Scarlet Guard. They make it out, and Cal kind of has nowhere else to go, so he's like, I guess I'm with you guys now. And Mare has a list of people who have her special abilities. So she goes out to find them. And that is majority of what this book is about. Going out and trying to find more New Bloods. Actually, no. A lot of stuff happened in this book, actually. So, like, the first part of the book is about finding New Bloods. And so, this is all just from Mare's perspective as well. We don't get a different perspective in this one. So, she finds a bunch of New Bloods, and they kind of have their own little home in, what they call it, the Notch, I believe. And they find out, because Maven is also looking for New Bloods at this time. He is now king. He is being kind of what they think controlled by his mother. She's kind of showing him the path he should go down. And they find out that the New Bloods they thought were dead were actually in prison, along with any of the Silvers that have been against him. So there they go and they attack the prison. And during the prison attack, Mare kills Maven's mother, but she also loses her brother Shade. So the brother she thought was dead, that wasn't dead, then dies. It's real sad. And then, so that's kind of part 2 of the book. Part 3 is kind of coming back home, his funeral, and then they're going off to save the Dagger Legion, which is this basically kid army that they're just sending to their death. And then the plane crashes. Well, the plane doesn't crash. The plane gets torn apart by magnetrons, and Mare basically makes a deal with Maven, like, I'll come with you if you spare my family and my friends. And that's the end of Glass Sword. And then King's Cage, my least favorite book of the series, if anyone is aware. Again, picks up right where we left off. Mare is a prisoner of Maven's, and we just get about 200 pages of just her doing the same thing every day, basically hating her life. But we do get another perspective in this book. Cameron's, which no one asked for. So, that's great. I think we get more perspectives in this too. I think we get Evangeline's. Yeah. There's Mare's perspective, Cameron's, and then Evangeline's. So, while Mare is in prison, Cameron's basically just getting information about what Mare's doing in prison. So it's not really giving us much else to work with, just saying, Cal's real sad that Mare's in prison, boo-hoo. And I'm sick of hearing about this lightning bitch all the time. that's basically the general sum of Cameron's point of view in the first part of this book. Then Maven decides to go on a tour around the country to kind of bolster his support. On that tour, he ends it by meeting at the Choke to strike a deal with the Lakelanders to end the war. Part of that deal ends up being that he marries the Lakelander princess, Iris, leaving Evangeline in the dust. Which, come to find out, Evangeline isn't really sad about it. And who would really be sad about, losing a betrothal to Maven? He's not that good of a guy, despite the odd fan obsession with him that I still don't understand. But that's besides the point. So Evangeline is left high and dry. Iris is being oddly nice to Mare. And then, before you know it, it's their wedding. Time jumps a lot in this book. So then, at the wedding, Mare, for some reason, is asked to be in it, along with Evangeline, which is just salt in the wound. But they get married, la-di-da-di-da, they walk off. Suddenly, there's a big attack in the square. And this is where Mare finds out there are other people with her lightning capabilities, but I guess that's the best way to put it. There, she finds Cal, and they're able to get out with a little trouble due to a little whisper, but they kill him. It's fine. Not that big of a deal. And then we get to the really mushy-gushy part of this book. So they're staying in Piedmont now. And she's reunited with her family, and they find out that her dad's legs have been regrown by a skin healer. It's a really sweet moment. And it's kind of just this happy, blissful section of the book where nothing's really happening. They're just kind of living their life in Piedmont. She's still traumatized from what happened to Maven, but it's just kind of a little refrain. Also, Farley is pregnant with Shade's child, and she has the baby in this section, and it's really cute, really happy. Also, Mare and Cal bang in this section. A lot happens in this section, nothing really important, but it's good for the soul section, especially after all we went through with that imprisonment bullshit. Okay, so while Mare was in prison, they won Corvium. It wasn't really there wasn't a whole battle over it, but they're all like, Maven's forces are going to attack Corvium, we need to defend the city we won, otherwise all that progress will be lost. Meanwhile, in Corvium, that's where the Dagger Legion was being kept, so Cameron, whose perspective even the author doesn't really seem to care about. I mean, I'm not trying to shit on Cameron as a character. It's just, she was never really made out to be a huge important character to begin with, so giving her own perspective just seemed really weird. And then, as soon as her kind of subplot was finished, she was just cast aside, like she was before. So that's my issue with Cameron, as having her own point of view. No one really asked for it, and not much thought or care was put into it. But anyways, Cameron is reunited with her twin brother that she kind of went on this whole mission for. And during that little blissful section, she kind of figures out she doesn't want to fight anymore, which leads to her maturing quite a bit, and it's actually kind of a really sweet moment. And that's kind of the point where I'm started being like, you know what? I think I actually like Cameron as a character now instead of just whiny teenager character. Mare also matures a lot in this, but kind of reverts back. I'll get to that. But they defend Corvium and they win. And then at the very end of King's Cage, Annabelle, which is Cal's grandmother, comes out of nowhere. Well, it doesn't come out of nowhere. We kind of see it coming. During all this, Evangeline, what's she been up to? So, she made a run for it during the wedding. She is actually the one who set Mare free, but she made a deal with her saying, I'll set you free if you promise not to kill my brother, since, he killed your brother. Mare's all like, fine, anything to get away from Maven. So then, Evangeline runs off with her dad, and they actually start their own kingdom. So now she has her own crown, and we finally find out that she is, in fact, a lesbian in love with Elaine. So, the Kingdom of the Rift is what it's called. So, Annabelle appears with the Kingdom of the Rift, and they've made an alliance with the Scarlet Guard and Montfort. And she's essentially like, we need another king to go up against Maven, so why not have it be the true king of Norda, Cal? And Cal's kind of like, what? But he does it anyways, which causes a huge fight between him and Mare, and they break up. It's like how Cassandra Clare has like those soul-crushing book endings, but like doesn't hit as hard. You're just kind of all like, that sucks. That really sucks. But you're not like left thinking about it for days after, like have to know how it works out type thing. Which leads us to the final book, Warstorm. Like the others, it picks up right where it left off, and they're in Corvium right after the battle. They essentially all agree. They're all like, hey, let's blow this popsicle stand. But before we do, let's fucking destroy it. So they do that after fighting for it. Then, while working out this new alliance, we get a bunch of different perspectives in this book. We get Mare, Cameron's thrown off to the side, like I said she was. A lot of Evangeline. We get Cal, we get Maven, we get Iris. Lots of perspectives thrown in there. But once they leave Corium, they kind of make a decision. They're like, go on to visit Montfort. Well, it's not that they want to visit Montfort. They got to visit Montfort to get more troops. So they do that, and Cal, Mare, Julian, Annabelle, Evangeline. Killiorn goes too. A lot of people go. Also, her family moves to Montfort to be safe. So, in Montfort, a bunch of childish shenanigans happen over one of my favorite scenes in the book, which is the dinner. Basically, Cal goes, I know I'm supposed to sit next to my grandma. I'm annoyed this bitch broke up with me, so I'm going to sit next to Mare to annoy her, and they're just picking on each other the whole dinner, essentially. And it's really funny, but at the same time, you're all like, didn't you guys just, like, mature and be all like, I'm going to be more mature in the last book? But it was really funny. I found it funny. So, yeah. There's that. And then there's the raider attack, which turned out the whole time to be just a cover-up so Iris could get in and get Bracken's children, which is a Prince of Piedmont, and they were holding his children as hostage, basically to get him to do whatever he wanted. So with that, Maven wins Piedmont over since his wife got the kids back. And so much happens in this book. It's so hard to wrap up. So then, once they had the kids and Piedmont has churned, Piedmont basically turns its base around and kills a bunch of people. A lot of the New Bloods are able to get out, but there's this weird moment where we're all like, who made it, who didn't, like, oh no. And at this point, they're back in the rift, just chilling, trying to figure out what to do. And Maven and Mare have a conversation through one of the New Bloods. And they're able to strike up a deal saying, let the prisoners go, and we won't blow you up. Seems like a fair trade. So then they're able to negotiate and get the prisoners free. Then they're discussing where a good capital should be. And Cal's grandma, Annabelle, really wants to do Delphi, because Delphi won't require a fight. But Cal's like, that's stupid, it's already mine, why would I put it there? I need to fight for it to prove myself. So they choose Harbor Bay. And Mayor's all like, hey, while we're in Harbor Bay, let's take out Newtown. And all the Silvers are all like, why the fuck would we do that? And all the Reds are all like, fuck yeah, let's do that. There's a little tension there. Needless to say, the alliance between Silvers and Reds is shaky at best. But essentially, Mayor goes to Newtown, and it's a huge success, not even really a fight at all, honestly. I mean, Killorn almost dies, but we just brushed that off. Harbor Bay, on the other hand, Iris is there fighting, and Maven has essentially blackmailed her, saying, I'm going to put you on the front line so your mom will come help us, since I know she's probably not going to send her full force to help me. So, Iris is fighting, and they essentially flood the city. Evangeline almost dies, and then they basically come up with an idea. They're taking teleporters across to having teleporters move people across the ship so they can turn the battleships against Iris's. And Cal is fighting Iris, and he almost dies. Do we get Cal's perspective in this? No, we don't. Even though we get his perspective later, but sometimes I don't understand the idea, the thinking behind these books. But anyways, Cal almost dies, and it really affects Mare, and so they end up kind of just spending the night together, doing a bunch of fucking. And the next morning, they meet with Calvin. Wow. They meet with Maven to negotiate. And surprise, surprise, he doesn't want to negotiate. But, plot twist, Annabelle and Cal's uncle Julian have gone behind Cal's back to make a deal with Iris, basically saying, turn him in and we'll give you the men who killed your father. So, they turn in Maven there, and it's over. But Scarlet Guard and Montfort are all like, you didn't think it'd be that easy, did you? They essentially say, we will not help put another king on the throne. Now's your time to decide. Do you want to become a free republic? If you don't, we're out. And Cal's all like, why would I do that? It's my crown. Surprise, surprise. He doesn't give it up. So, then, they leave. They're like, alright, told you we'd leave. We're leaving now. And they take Maven with him. So then, and this is where the book splits into so many perspectives. They know Maven's not a threat, but they also know that the Lakelanders are going to turn against him and try and attack them when they're weak. So they're kind of freaking out about that in Cal's perspective, trying to figure out how to go about that. And Cal's like having an inner turmoil with his mother's diary, trying to figure out like, who am I supposed to be? Like, meanwhile, Mare is talking with Maven a bit while he's in prison, and Mare goes on a mountain walk, and she sees the seer she met before that told her about the prison where her brother died and all that. And he says that they have a few weeks till the Lakelanders attack the Norton capital. And they say that if the Lakelander queen gets it, it's going to be almost impossible for them to get it back. So they're kind of all like, well, shit. guess we gotta go back and help them. So they start planning for that, but for that they need Maven's help to use the underground tunnels that he has. And Maven's all like, you think I'm gonna help you, you're just gonna kill me. My only deal is you take me along with you so I can show you the way. Which they don't have many options, so they end up agreeing to it. They use them, they get through the tunnels. At this point, the battle's already started because convenient timing is convenient. And Maven in the fight gets away from them. So then, this part's so weird in the book. It was almost like she was like, there's too many pages. I'm just gonna wrap it up real quick. Basically, Evangeline turns against her dad and runs away, and her brother Ptolemy, I don't know how to say his name. Tolly is what she calls him. Helps her, and they run off to Montfort together. So that's kind of the wrap up of her story. And then Cal, on the way out, sees her, and Evangeline goes, it's not too late to change. And it's almost like that clicks something with him, because then when Mare shows up, like 5 minutes later, he goes, is it too late? He goes, I'm done with crowns. Like, not much discussion about it. Like, there's been a little bit, but I don't know. It just seemed like it was all like, wrap this up quickly. We need him to give up the crown, so we're just going to say he gave up the crown. And then Mare. So Mare's all like, alright, honey, we're not really back together now, but we're kind of back together. I'm going to go kill your brother. You stay here, finish fighting the Lakelanders. I'll figure it out. So while she's doing that, the Scarlet Guard, Cal's all like, I hope you guys have a plan. When the Scarlet Guard comes in, and they're like, yeah, we do. I think it was submarines they had, essentially. Torpedo the bottom of the battleships, and the Lakelander Queen is all like, I'm not risking my daughter's life. We're going back now. And they just retreat like that. Then, we finally go back to Mare. Mare found Maven. Maven, essentially loses the last bit of humanity he has left. And he's like, alright, I'm down to kill her. And they basically fight to the death. And Mare nearly dies, but in true fashion, she slits his throat. I think she slits his throat. I don't know. I'm just assuming she slits his throat right before he suffocates her. And then she, in typical fashion, wakes up in her own room, being tended to by a skin healer. And she's all like, what happened? And she's all filled in, classic YA style, honestly. And then the book ends with her and Cal meeting up again when she's heading back to Montfort, and she just goes, I just need time. And then there's this whole like, will they, won't they? Like, will you wait for me? And be like, I don't know. And that's essentially how the book ends. It's a weird ending. It went real quick. Like I said, it felt like it hit a point, and they're all like, we need to wrap this up quick. So they did, but yeah. So first book, like I said, for most of these books, I enjoyed them for what they were. I saw their flaws, but I'm like, I had a fun time reading it. So first book was 4 stars. Second book, 4 stars. Third book, almost a 2, but the second half bumped it up to a 3. And War Storm was a 4-star for me. Overall, I'd say the overall series ranking for this book is probably like a 3.5, 3.75, just because there was that 3-star in there. Like I said, there are a lot of flaws in these books, but if you're able to look past it and just see it for the story it is, it can be fun. It's an easy read. I know I read Glass Sword in like 2 days. Like, lots of action. And then character-wise. So Mare, she like, that was her character development, essentially. You'd be like, oh, she's maturing. No, she's not. Oh, she's maturing. No, she's not. And then there was Cal, which was, who's all like, nothing, boop, nothing, boop, nothing, boop. Like, just like little changes that he's like, I'm gonna be a better person now. And then I'm gonna be an even better person now. Just kind of out of nowhere. Karen's, I think she was one of my favorites just because the author didn't use her too much. So when she developed and became more mature, she stayed that way because the author decided to throw her to the side. And I'm pretty sure she was like the only black character in the book. So that's a little sketchy, but we love just throwing our token side characters away once we have no use for them anymore. Then there's Evangeline, which I think is, again, one of my favorites. I think she still was bratty in the end, but I think she learned a lot. And I don't know, I'm just really proud of her, you know? Like, something hit different in books 3 and 4 for me for Evangeline, where I was all like, I feel for you, and I want the best for you. I don't know. She ended up being one of my favorite characters by the end of the book. Farley was always one of my favorite characters, along with Shade. That's another thing I was going to mention. So the first book, Red Queen, did make me cry at the end when she found out Shade was alive. Second book made me cry when Shade died. Third book made me cry like 5 different times. Like, I know the family reunion was one of them. I can't remember the other ones, but I know I cried a lot in that one, in the second half. Warstorm didn't make me cry at all. But yeah. These books, if you let them just be what they are, and you let yourself get attached to the characters, there's some hard-hitting moments that'll make you tear up a bit. But yeah, overall, I think this is just your basic YA series. I don't think there's anything overly spectacular about it. I don't think there's anything apparently horrible about it. I think it's just a fun little series. Take it for what it's worth and you'll have a good time with it. If you ask me to rank the books, I'd say Glass Sword is probably at the top. Then probably Warstorm, then Red Queen, then King's Cage. King's Cage is definitely at the bottom. Have I said I don't like King's Cage enough yet? But yeah. Those was my thoughts on King's Cage. Oh my gosh. Those were my thoughts on the Red Queen series. Let me know what your thoughts were on the series. Let me know when you read the series. I know I read it for the first time in 2021. But yeah. I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.